what's inside a woman. And, we need to be careful to understand what is going on in our society and not allow ourselves to be manipulated and twisted and placed at war. And the fact of the matter is, it's okay to disagree with other people. I always say if two people agree about everything, one of them isn't necessary. So, it actually promotes healthy dialogue. And you're likely to learn a lot more from somebody you don't agree with than somebody you do agree with. But we have to be able to have open, civil discussions, not get off into corners and hurl hand grenades at each other. Now, I understand that the media, a lot of the media, that's how they gain their relevance. They got to keep people fighting each other and people at war. But I believe that if our country is to survive in a strong mode, we the people, have to actually rise above the manipulation of the media and the manipulation of those politicians whose job it is to divide people up so that they can control the different segments. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to do. No one else can do it. Well, there were a lot of problems with me realizing my dream of becoming a musician. I was devastated when my parents got divorced. Just horrendous. And, my mother was one of 24 children and got married at age 13. And she and my father moved from rural Tennessee to Detroit. And years later, she discovered he was a bigamist, had another family.
Oh my God.
And I remember telling that story at a graduation at the University of Utah. Nobody thought it was that strange. See that? I probably offended somebody. Everybody know they don't do that in Utah anymore, right? Now it's Texas. But at any rate, she thought that was pretty strange. So, we had to end up moving to Boston to live with her older sister and brother-in-law. Typical multi-family dwelling, boarded up windows and doors, sirens and gangs, gigantic rats and monstrous roaches, and sirens, gangs, and murders. I remember seeing people lying on the ground with bullet holes and stab wounds, waiting to die. Both of my older cousins, who we adored, were killed. And I remember as a 9-year-old boy, sitting on the ghetto stairs, looking through the building across the street, out of which all the windows were broken and the sun was streaming through the building, and thinking about my future, and thinking that I would probably not live to be 25 years old, because that's what I saw around me. In the meantime, my mother was out working 2-3 jobs at a time as a domestic, cleaning other people's houses. She would leave at 5 in the morning, get back after midnight, day after day after day, because she didn't want to be on welfare. She only had a 3rd grade education, but she was very observant. She noticed that no one she ever saw go on welfare came off of it. So she didn't want to go on it in the first place, and she didn't want us to be on it. And she never felt sorry for herself, and that was a good thing. The problem is she never felt sorry for us either. So there was never any excuse that we could give that was good enough. She would always say, "Do you have a brain?" If the answer was yes, then you could have thought your way out of that. Doesn't matter what anybody else said or did. And in retrospect, I think that was probably the most important thing that she did for us. Because if someone will not accept your excuses, then pretty soon you stop giving excuses and you start looking for solutions. And if you're an employer, you want a good employee, don't pick somebody who's always got an excuse, who can always blame somebody else. People who are always blaming others, they do not make good workers. And that is a universal across all fields. Well, at any rate, my mother figured if she worked long enough and hard enough, we'd be able to move back to Detroit. That was her goal. And after a few years, we did move back to Detroit. Still in a multi-family dwelling in a dilapidated area with significant wildlife, but nevertheless, you know, she was independent. I was in the 5th grade. I was a horrible student. Probably the worst you've ever seen. I thought I was really, really stupid. And my classmates thought the same. In fact, they called me dummy. That was the way they would always take my name. And if there was a joke about somebody being stupid, they would just substitute my name, and that would make it realistic for everyone. But I really didn't like that very much, as you might imagine. I tried to act like that didn't bother me, but it really bothered me a lot, even though I agreed with them. But I was pretty good at one thing. I was very good at getting other people kicked out of class. And what I would do is I would study my classmates. I would figure out what made them really, really angry. And then I would just irritate them until they were about to explode. But I would never push the last button to make them explode until we were in class and the teacher was nearby. Then I would do it, they would explode, the teacher would kick them out, and I would say, yeah, this is great, because I wouldn't be the only one who didn't learn anything that day. But there was this one girl in class, and you all know this girl. Her name is Miss Goody Two-Shoes. Some of you were her, I'm sure. Everything perfect, pristine, on time, made everybody else look like a total jerk. And I said, wow, wouldn't it be great to get her kicked out of class? There was only one problem. She was cool, calm, and collected. You couldn't get under her skin. But I was persistent. And I finally figured out what made her angry. And I tell you, the steam was coming out of her ears. She was about to explode. But I didn't push the last button. She was sitting right in the seat in front of me. And as the teacher started approaching, I pushed the last button. But she didn't explode. She just quietly turned around. And she said, you and me on the playground at recess. So that didn't work out all that well. And I became a brain surgeon and she became a professional wrestler. But I did stop bothering people so much. But you know, the kind of student that I was reminds me, unfortunately, of a lot of students that I encounter today. And many adults, for that matter, who just don't have a wide breadth of knowledge. Very superficial in their understanding of things. You know, there was a survey done some years ago looking at the ability of 8th grade equivalents in 22 countries to solve math and science problems. We were one of the 22, and we came in number 21 out of 22. We barely beat out number 22. And this is the technological age, the age of information. That is such a serious problem. In this country, 30% of people who enter high school do not graduate in the information age, the age of technology. 40% of people who go to college on a 4-year program do not graduate in 4 years. Large numbers of them have to take remedial courses to do college 101 work. What is happening to us? We make a lot of good excuses for people. We don't hold people's feet to the fire. We accept the excuses. It's not good for us. I was talking to the chairman of Intel. He said, we have a lot of technical jobs, high-paying technical jobs, but we cannot fill them with American college grads. We don't have enough who are trained in technical areas. So we have to go to India, and China, Japan, Pakistan, South Korea. Think about how sad that is. And it means that we really need to start retooling a little bit. You know, our high school guidance counselors have to start telling the kids, what are the jobs of the future? You know, we probably have too many soft majors. in college. And then they come out and they can't find a job. And they wonder why nobody needs, an international studies major. Well, nothing wrong with international